What's going on, guys? Today's gonna be a super quick video and I'm gonna get straight to the point. You guys are gonna love hearing this. So I'm gonna tell you guys a little story about what's happening and like why you should not be doing this. And this whole thing, and like, just trust me, hear this out completely because it might not blow your mind, but it's gonna make so much sense in a bigger scale. Like since we were kids, right? And I'm sure at school, at our jobs, anywhere, like we talk about communication all the time, right? Communication is key. And the funny thing is that when I was growing up, communication was my biggest weakness. I remember when I went to college, there was a communication major and I was like, why the hell would anybody major in communication? Like, what does that even mean? One of the biggest lessons I've learned as an entrepreneur and as a father, as a partner, like you have to have high level communication. Like you have to, because if you don't, so many things get lost in between the lines that you start then creating perceptions and making assumptions of people and things that are happening if you don't actually get curious. And it's one of the things that I've been heavily, sitting with the last few weeks of like just being curious with people, being curious with the people that you work with, the people that you're friends with, curious with your kids to like really understand what's actually happening. Like one of my friends tells me this all the time. He's like, the issue is never the issue, right? So if the issue is never the issue, then what is actually the issue? And so if there's no communication, you're never going to know what it is. And so again, I'm sharing this because the company that I run, the way I've set up my company is I have multiple strategic partners that help us with the fulfillment of the service that we provide. So I do a lot of the marketing, the sales. I bring in the clients. I have a service where I help people sell on Amazon. Again, we have multiple fulfillment partners. These fulfillment partners have their warehouses. They have the distribution access to all these different brands, distributors, the products, like you name it, right? So we are able to help clients provide a fully done for you service where it's a full management service is really what I should say. And look, I'm not trying to get into like what I sell here or what I do, but just hear me out. So having these relationships and structuring a business this way, like you have to have such high level of communication with those partners, because if you don't know what's actually happening and you're not asking the right questions, so they're not communicating, shit gets lost in between lines very quickly. And so a lot of times, like when we're going through something and like something's happening internally, like whether it's within the family or whether even like in a relationship, right? When you're with your significant other, if you're not communicating what's actually happening, the other person's gonna make assumptions, right? It's like, for example, you can be having second thoughts about being in a relationship, and then if the other person is automatically going to start experiencing and feeling, like people can pick up on those symptoms, right? Like they'll know like, okay, something's happening. And so what if you're actually not having second thoughts about the relationship, but you're having concerns about the way they're being and the potential future you see with them, right? So if you start not communicating that, not only will your partner start making assumptions, they will then start being different because they're assuming you're going to do something because they didn't ask, and then they're going to start being different, and then it's going to re-verify what you're thinking about the potential future. And what does that do? That ends up putting the relationship in a place where it might actually not work, right? And that's not what we want, right? At the end of the day, like if you're in a relationship with somebody, or you have a friend that you love, or you're, a coach that's coaching you to get to a certain place, or a business partner, or anything and anybody, if things get lost in between, we both sides start making interpretations, both sides start making assumptions, and then you end up being, in the end, not where you actually want to be. And so both sides always have to be curious. And again, the reason why I brought up, what I do and these partners is because we've been noticing certain issues within the service that we're providing, right? The client's getting service, the things are happening, but like there's just been things that did not seem clear, did not seem transparent. And so we started making assumptions, clients started making assumptions as to like what's actually happening over there, right? Are they actually doing the service? Are they lying to us? Is this happening? What's not happening? And I just spent 2 hours right now in a meeting with one of our strategic partners, and we found out a load of things that we had no clue about, right? And I'm not blaming them. Like, I'm not mad at them. I'm not like, oh my God, they did X, Y, and Z. Why didn't they tell us? Like, could they have told us? 100%. I, though, can take responsibility and be like, man, I did not ask enough questions. I was not curious enough. I did not contact them enough to actually get to the bottom of what's happening so that we can conceptually understand and be able to communicate to all the clients. At the same time, right? Our partners, like they were not being proactive to communicating like, hey, this is happening. This is what we expect to happen in the next 2-3 months and the next 6 months. So when this happens, just know like this is the game plan, right? Being proactive and already and them knowing what's about to happen gives them the ability to be on the same page to then attack that goal together versus like just individually trying to figure out like what's happening. And so that's really what I want you guys to get from here is that think about every single person in your life, right? Think about every situation that you've ever been in. Could you have resolved that relationship or that situation in a way better place if you were actually curious and trying to understand what was actually happening? Look, a lot of us end up not doing that for a multitude of reasons, right? Sometimes a lot of it really comes from fear. Like, it's all at the end of the day based from fear. That fear comes from different traumas that we have or experiences that we've had growing up, where we have our own belief systems, right? Like, oh, this person's gonna judge me, oh, this person's not gonna wanna tell me, this person doesn't respect me, I'm scared to speak up, they're not gonna wanna work with me anymore, oh, they wanna be my friends. Like, the list is endless. Like, it's endless of the thoughts that we have, but it's all fear-based, right? It's all fear-based. And if we choose to set that aside and be like, you know what, I'm not gonna worry about that, I'm not gonna think about that, like, let me just get curious. Let me ask questions, right? Like, think about it. Unless somebody actually tells you, I ain't telling you shit, I'm not gonna tell you anything, I'm not gonna communicate anything. Okay, now it's pretty crystal clear that, like, they're not gonna tell you what's happening. And so, like, maybe now you could make assumptions, right? Like, okay, well, I can't really do much of that. Like, what can I do now, right? I can pivot now. And so most people, most of us, including myself, never even get to that point because we automatically start making assumptions. We automatically, like, don't communicate, we don't respond, we don't reach out, we're not proactive. And so I can almost guarantee you guys, when you are proactive when it comes to communication in anything that you do, and you get curious and you put in enough energy and empathy and vulnerability towards the situation, both parties can get to a place where you actually understand each other. And this is what people that are high achievers, that are high performers in anything are good at. Right? Professional athletes have to be massive communicators, right? Imagine playing a basketball game and you're not communicating with your teammate as to what's actually happening when you're seeing what's happening, or just staying quiet because, like, oh, I don't want the person to get mad at me, right? It's the same thing with a company. It's the same thing in a personal relationship. And so I really want you guys to remember that is like, is there a place in your life that you can fix the communication and make the communication so good and effective that you'll actually be able to resolve any problem within a matter of minutes, right? Any problem can be resolved with proper communication, effective communication, proactive communication on both sides. And it's not about blaming the other person. Like, it's not like you can never just sit here and blame, so-and-so because of XYZ didn't happen, because at the end of the day, we have the responsibility to also be proactive as to, like, what's happening, what we're experiencing, what we're noticing, what our intuition is telling us, what our experiences have reminded us of what could be happening, right? So we have the power. That's what I want you guys to know, is that you have the power. You have the power to figure out what's happening if you choose to be proactive and communicate in a way that welcomes the other party to communicate, right? Because the other party could also be scared. Maybe they're not saying something because they're scared that something's gonna happen, right? They're scared that you're gonna judge them. And so they just end up not speaking up. And it's not our responsibility to get the other person to communicate, but it is ours to try and figure it out. It is ours to get curious. It is ours to be proactive about it. If there's anything that you guys take out of this video, is be proactive. Be massively proactive in communicating with the people that you work with, the people that you surround yourself with, your friendships, your children, your partner, anybody. And I guarantee, like, you will have clarity beyond your wildest dreams. Like, it will be so crystal clear that you will now be able to move towards the same direction, towards the same vision, in alignment, which will actually help you get to your end goal 10 times faster, maybe even 100 times faster. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you guys in the next video, and let me know at the comments if you've ever experienced this, right? And what techniques have you used to be able to communicate with people to actually end up getting to the bottom of things. So that's all I got. I'll see you guys in the next video.